Hi, my name is Francine and I have ovarian cancer. We don't know how long I have, so my job right now is to make every day count. Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I'm having an okay day. It's still early in the morning and it's already 83 degrees. It's supposed to go up to 100, but I'm not going to tell Neon that because Neon has to go to see their mom tonight and that requires going outside. So Neon melts, but so do I. My tolerance might be a little bit better, but I don't think it was any better as a teen. So I got my fountain. I will get video of it soon. We just cleaned the deck and had to move some things around. So it's not really quite in place. But the issue I'm having now is the water is just disappearing because it's so hot. When there's a heat wave, if you don't have a bird bath, just put a bowl of water on the ground somewhere in your yard, preferably in the shade under a tree maybe. I use Tupperware because metal is going to get too hot for the critters. So this way everybody actually has a chance. Not everybody's, talking about the critters, going to go to a bird bath or can reach a bird bath. But on the ground, it's specifically helpful to hydrate everyone, so on behalf of the critters, thank you. So somebody asked me about my weight loss journey, my bariatric surgery, and what that journey was like. I don't think I would be alive today if I hadn't have had it. I just don't think the way I was eating, I think the cancer would have just fed on all of that junk I ate. Well, you know what? I need to go to TJ Maxx and I need to get a new Buddha or something for the deck because the one I have is all chipped up and I want to get it all ready to show you the deck. Okay, so why don't you come with me and we'll talk about it. It's a private thing, but I've pretty much told you a lot of private things. All right, let's go. Okay, we're in the car. And since I started the video, it is now 86 degrees. Okay, that's not so bad. I can totally tolerate 86 degrees. Let's see. I don't like to wear my sunglasses when I'm vlogging, so that you can see me look at you once in a while, just when it's safe to do so. So I've been a big girl all my life. I yo-yo dieted. The only time I remember that I was thin for any amount of time was as a teenager because the doctors put me on amphetamines when that was legal to do. A couple of times I was put on amphetamines and the same things that were available on the street. So sometimes it was just through friends. I was never into hardcore drug dealer, but yeah, and I wasn't addicted. It was just, I've gained a few pounds. I better take care of this. So in my high school years, I trimmed down quite a bit and thinner than I am now. But I still felt fat. I definitely had body dysmorphia, just the way that I saw it. I've seen memes now like saying, I wish I was as fat as I thought I was. So after the amphetamines, that diet pills, they're so not good for your body. But when you're young, you do all kinds of things to your body that you just feel, immortal. And after that journey, I put all the weight back on and then some, as you can imagine. And then I tried every weight loss journey out there, every gimmick. I was doing the Dexatrim pills, which, we now know were pretty much just caffeine. I was on Jenny Craig twice. I was on Weight Watchers for a brief period. Jenny Craig was successful for me, but, eventually you go back to making your own food, or, you're not on the program forever. I got it. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. All those weight loss programs, the fads. I tried Nutrisystem too. I'm sure this is triggering a lot of memories for some people. A lot of these fads are no longer fads, but most of them still exist. So everything was temporary. Now people just take a shot. But once you stop taking that shot, whether it's Ozempic or whatever, if you have a weight problem, it's most likely going to come back. So you have to change your eating habits. Okay. No lectures right now. Everything was available to you. When I was in school, there weren't that many fat people. By today's standards, I'm not saying the fat acceptance movement. I'm not really a fan of that. I believe in unconditional love and respect, but the fat acceptance movement is an arrogant little movement. And I think that also it's kind of for people who, some of them that can't lose weight. This is a way of dealing with it. But why would you want to stay unhealthy? It makes life so difficult. There are people big enough that they can't wipe their own butts. And I'm so grateful I never made it to that. But I was fat as a kid because I liked to eat. I liked carbs. Diabetes ran in my family on my dad's side. Everybody got it by the time they were 36. I was 36. But as a child, they were worried that I was going to be pre-diabetic. Went to the doctors. I was even put on the exchange diet, which is picking foods from column A, column B. As a kid, first of all, my mom didn't have time to keep up with that maintenance. I'm talking about when I was like 11 or maybe even younger. She didn't have time for that, and it was complicated for me. Plus, there needed to be grocery shopping for that, and that was just not going to happen with the lifestyle that my mom led. And then I just kept eating and kept eating. Then I went on the diet pills, and then I must have gained weight, lost and gained, probably 4 times. The rest of the times just didn't work. Just wasn't eating healthy. I wasn't learning how to eat healthy. I didn't want to learn how to eat healthy. I just wanted the weight off. So I still ate crap, and I was probably suffering from malnutrition. The one thing you got going for you, though, is your youth, right? Doesn't last too long, though. As a society, we're just getting fatter and fatter because of the food, the products that are being put on the shelf. And what is the FDA for anyway? Who cares about labels? They just want to have their snacks. And I understand that, but I come from a different place now. And I think if I had not had lost the weight for good, and even surgeries, it's never necessarily permanent. Yeah. I think I would be that big, or just lucky to be here. I really do. So I had looked into weight loss surgery when the gastric bypass came out, and I was denied because my BMI just wasn't big enough. They changed their rules later, but oh man, I was so upset. I cried and cried and cried. And then years later, I was 54. No, I'm not. I'm lying. It was around 50, 52. That's how old I was, yeah. My diabetes got out of control, and my weight was ridiculous. I mean, it still wasn't the BMI requirement, but I already had cancer the first time, and my new GP doctor had said, have you thought about weight loss surgery? And I was like, well, yeah, I wanted to get it, but that I was denied. And they said, well, the standards have changed now, that even though you're not, your BMI doesn't qualify per se, the diabetes and the cancer does make you qualify. So I was like, yippee, let's get going. But you might know that you have to do classes and all that stuff. I will finish the journey, and I will post a picture. But right now we're at TJ Maxx. We'll see you again in the next clip. We'll finish out the story. It's 11 a.m. and now it's 91 degrees. I didn't want to say that was a waste to go to TJ Maxx, but it did not accomplish my goal. I realize now I should have been going to HomeGoods. Same owners, same company. So they have more lawn stuff. TJ Maxx has some home decor and some planters. I bought 2 planters. They're really nice and a good deal. And I bought 2 shirts. So not totally a waste. However, it didn't accomplish it. Oh boy, I'm waiting for the air to kick on. Not surprisingly, I came back to a coffee that's still hot. And I was probably in there for 45 minutes. Okay. Fortunately, HomeGoods is actually just down the street. Where were we? Yeah, all the diet stuff. And then finally they said, that I could have the surgery. And that was probably 4 or 5 years later. So needless to say, I was excited. I think just the prospect of being thin again. It had been a long while. I just let my weight creep up. I probably at some point hit 250 pounds. I don't know what that equates to in stones or anything, but it was a very uncomfortable place. Now, I had lost a little bit of weight, so when I started the journey, I was 237. I might as well have been 250, right? So I went through all the hoops that want you to jump. I didn't have insurance. So that was, when I had insurance, wasn't going to cover it. Maybe that's what it was. I think insurance companies cover it more now. But I got to tell you, you should cover it because you will save a lot of money. I mean, people will not need insulin so much and things like that. So, and at that point, I was on insulin for 15 years. Yeah, about 15 years. Giving myself 2 shots a day for fast-acting insulin before meals and 1 shot each night for long-acting. And so I was looking forward to not having to do insulin because the doctor said your diabetes will practically disappear. Well, that wasn't the case, but it sure is a lot better. And that's why if my GP says something about it, I'm just like, yeah, I'm dealing with cancer, so I'm not near the danger zone that I was in. So if you've ever had bariatric surgery, you know that they just don't take you in the OR. There's a lot of things that have to happen. You need to prove first that you can lose the weight. You can lose weight without, these tools. So there was a strict diet I had to follow for a few months, and I had to get psychologically tested because they will turn down people like with binge eating disorders and things like that. And I think I had to take a few support group classes within their office and with other people on their journeys. And they offered like a cooking class and things like that. So, there was a lot of support. And I had to see the nutritionist on a regular basis to see how things were doing. So that said, I'm cleared and everything was good. And then I went into surgery. The surgery was the day before New Year's Eve. So it was December 30th. And I remember that because I celebrate the anniversary of it. And I lost about 75 pounds. For some people, that's not the goal. I mean, some people have to lose a lot more weight. So I was blessed. And the surgery itself, I got the gastric sleeve, in case anybody's interested. It's a little bit different. They don't do the bypass so much anymore unless somebody has an awful lot to lose. So I think the surgery itself worked for about 8-9 months. And then I had to really push to do the rest. But it doesn't mean the surgery doesn't work. It's just that things, I don't know why, I just think things can stretch out a little bit more. And like when you first have the surgery, you can only have a liquid diet like a couple of weeks before and a couple of weeks after. So that's a lot. So it's easy to lose weight then. And you can have protein shakes and liquid diet, and then you can graduate to pureed foods. Now, they didn't like you to do baby food, but I would make chili, for instance, and puree it so it was really smooth. And then I would have a little dollop of sour cream that I would stir in the top. And that was good. That was almost something I lived on for a little while. So, everybody has their own tricks, and every bariatric surgery is different. I was very lucky not to have a lot of complications. I don't know if I had any complications really on that one. But it is one of the things responsible. Oops, sorry, one of the flower pots went over. It is one of the things, though, that was responsible for some of my scar tissue. That and I had hysterectomy when I was 42. So it all adds up. And I had my gallbladder out and all that stuff. Sorry about that. My flower pot needs to be adjusted over here. It's 11:17 and it is 97 degrees. So this is definitely the last stop because I expected to get what I needed and go right back. But I have a gift card I love gift cards. Just burning a hole in my pocket. So that's even hotter. All right. So I will be back in a few minutes. So here we are in HomeGoods, and I am going to buy one of those little pieces. There's a cat there I want. And I love mosaic. I mean, I love pops of color, and these guys are cute. So I get lost in this store. And some of it's very reasonable. Some of it, I don't really see the value in it as far as a discount place. This is sort of an overstock store. I love angels. I love any kind of fairies. I just love them. Oh, and this right there. I love those colors, greens and blues together. And I suppose purple's first in my book, but purples go with those colors too. And I'm not seeing a lot of Buddhas here, but I am seeing a lot of planters. Unfortunately, I'd already just bought 2. I like that guy. But I just keep looking at them. And the more planters I have, the more I have to plant. Now, these Buddhas, very cool, but they were huge and way out of my budget. This little girl, I bought her. And I love this collection. And if I was going to buy anything, that would be coming home with me. Now, see this flamingo? I'm totally coming back for him. Oh my God. Okay. I wasn't gone very long. I just wanted to get in and out and get home. I had no idea it would get this hot so fast. It still says 97. That's how long I was in there. So I will definitely be back. I think I'll just keep the little Buddha that I have for the moment. Looks like he's got a skin condition, but it's okay. I don't think I'm going to take you on the deck today. I still have to move pots around a little bit, but it's just too hot. So back to our story. So I lost this weight, and you don't just get surgery and it does for a little bit kind of melt off, but you're still doing the work. It's not magic. And I think when people go into this and they realize that, oh, I'm really going to have to work at it, sometimes they don't either get accepted, or really the surgery is not for everyone. Like if you have I can't even say that, ED, because there's another flag that YouTube will investigate. And if you have one of those and you cannot get a hold of it and get therapy for it, then it's probably not a good idea to get surgery, because I know a lot of people, some through no fault of their own, have gained it back. The tool just didn't work the way it should have worked. But some people, they didn't do the work. They just didn't do the work. And they'll blame it on something else, but not themselves. And then there are people that have more challenges than others, like people with big families that maybe they're all big and you're the only one getting the surgery. You know, the journey ultimately is your own, and you can let outside influences get you or not. I was married to someone else at the time, and I wanted him to get it with me because he had some weight to lose. He struggled, and he had put on quite a few pounds since I'd met him. I have that effect on people. I feed people too much. No, but he didn't want to do it. That's okay. But I think that was part of what led us to a divorce, because he got very insecure. That happens too. The partner always gets insecure. If you're going to get slim and trim and good looking, and it was an illusion. I never, it was the furthest thing from my mind. But we ended up getting a divorce anyway, and for really different reasons. But just, I bring it up because he was very supportive, but I told him the way it was going to be. I told him, I'm not going to cook the way I did. We're not going out the way we did. I cannot keep junk in the house. Here's a drawer for you that, I cleared out. You can put anything you want there, but I'm not doing it. And if you don't set your boundaries first and just expect other people to step up, not a good idea, because other people don't really know what you need. They can offer you a donut or something, and sometimes that's not very considerate, but it's still up to you whether you take that donut or not. The cancer cells feed on sugar, and I truly believe that I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had that surgery when I did. It's been 10 years. Am I still a carb addict? Always will be. Always will be. I do have more control. And, Chris and Neon both laugh at me because I talk about sugar a lot. But the fact is that I just spin my wheels. And if I have it, I just have a little bit of it. Sometimes it's like, I'm not going to have it till I have it. But I don't gorge myself. Like one donut would be fine. More? I don't know. I don't know that I've had more than one in one sitting. I don't think I can. And the other thing is that I talk more about it, than I do things about it. My mind always goes to the sugar. Cancer is not going to feed off the sugar in my head. I think cancer can feed off of negative thoughts. That's a whole different quantum energy kind of situation. But as far as physical sugar in your body and carbs in general, I had to cut back on that. Not just for cancer, but just to keep my weight down. And if the cancer didn't get me by now, the diabetes certainly would have. I went through all that and ended up never taking an insulin shot again since my surgery. Even at the weight I was, something happens with the gruelin. I don't know what it is. There's a hormone that just sort of disconnects a diabetes from the body. Now, not completely, but I went from that to 2 pills a day. Wasn't quite enough. So we went through a weekly shot, Trulicity. The doctor, my bariatric doctor, was a little surprised that I needed that much. He said, it must be bad. In other words, like as far as the hereditary, the genetics. But I am here with all my limbs, very little neuropathy. In fact, my neuropathy probably came from the chemotherapy. And I can't say that for the rest of my family. My father's side, my father lost a leg. My grandmother lost both legs and went blind. I used to smoke too. I gave that up right after my first cancer diagnosis. I went back off the wagon a couple of times. It's probably been a solid 15 years now since, no, it's been more than that. It's been like 17 years since I quit. And so I totally relate to anyone having problems that think, that I don't, it's other than cancer. I definitely have had my share of issues, and I know what that's like. I know what it's like to have to turn things around. It means your life when it means your life. I'm very lucky just knowing those stories that weren't successful. I had asked my bariatric doctor, what is the number one reason why people don't succeed? And he was very candid with me. He said, the actual number one reason is not what you think. It's because people don't come back to see me. I've been seeing this doctor every 6 months, at least every 6, sometimes every 3 months, for over 10 years now. On our 10th anniversary, I sent him a happy anniversary greeting. And what happens is the reason why people don't is they'll put a few pounds back on and then they're embarrassed. They think that this doctor's going to yell at them. They don't want to feel like a failure. I get that. But you know what? I've gained a couple pounds and felt bad about it, but not that much. But I have someone in my life who gained 20. And I said, get back to the doctor. That's not what he's here for. He is not here to rake you over the coals. He's here to help. And yeah, he just helps you get back on track. Anybody that's had it recently, that put on a few pounds, get back. Get back. You know why? Because you still have the tools. That surgery is most likely still working for you, but you need to work for the surgery. So losing weight should be a lot easier than it was before your surgery. So it's worth just finding a new mindset, and maybe you can reason with your head that all the food that's up here is really head hunger. And that's what it is. Even when I say, dessert, it doesn't usually happen. It's just, oh, I'm craving this, I'm craving that. And it's kind of like, yeah, are you really? I mean, yeah, I may be craving it, but I'm not hungry. And you really have to talk to yourself through it. I talked to the doctor about it. I said it's really important that I eat more protein and eat less sugar. That doesn't happen too often, but sometimes when I think when I'm hungry and I should be eating real food, reaching for the donut, yeah, I'm thinking, oh, I could fit two, and I never could. Even my dinner, half of it usually goes into the fridge. So I'm really a cheap date. After 10 years, I'm really glad that I haven't stretched things out. But I struggle. I still struggle. I get on the scale, at least once a week. And I forgive myself for fluctuation because that happens. But I don't know. Sometimes what's going on in my head, though, is I'm a mess. I mean, regardless that I don't eat as much as I did, and regardless of my making good choices or bad choices, I still struggle like everybody else. And I struggle with it mostly in my head, though. Okay, it's picture time. The only thing I have handy with me right now is a driver's license that I carry in my purse. I carry it in my purse. I've carried it in my purse for 10 years to just remind me. If I need to pull it out for strength, that's what I do. I don't show it to a lot of people. And now I'm showing to a lot of people. But I don't mind. So that is my weight loss journey. And I just feel so blessed that I'm still here. And I may be sort of fighting to stay. I know that I won't be here at some point. But I definitely feel like I bought a few years. I love you all. And yeah, let me know what your weight loss journey has been. Or if you have any questions, comment below. And I try to read and react to every single one, until my channel gets ridiculously big, which if it does, then I can only do so much. But as long as I have time and I can do it, I will do it, because I really like interacting with you. And if you want to see more of my videos, then just hit subscribe and then go back and hit that bell and make sure that it's black so that you'll be notified in the messages area that I have uploaded. Okay? Love you all. Bye.